You motherfuckers will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I get finished with you. Shoe program, nigga. 23-hour lockdown. I'm the man up in this piece. You'll never see the light of day. Who the fuck you think you fucking with? I'm the police. I run shit here. You just live here.
CRWS, Countering Racism White Supremacy Book Club. Like, share, subscribe, and comment below.
Reparations is a good idea, dog. Reparations is stupid.
You know, I'm surprised to hear you say that. I figured you'd make a case for how slavery got you all oppressed and how the white man got his foot on your neck.
Giving out money wouldn't do nothing. Look at him.
Man, that boy ain't doing nothing now but infomercials for bad credit.
Man, slavery, man, it ruined my whole life.
I don't know what y'all say, man, but I ain't taking no reparations because as a black man, I got my pride and my dignity.
You know what? That's bull. You know why? Because you got bills. And your brothers ain't letting no money get by. Next, you're gonna talk about how the Jews got money from the
Jews
Holocaust.
didn't get money, dog. Holocaust survivors
Look,
got
we
money.
had welfare and affirmative action. Is that not reparations? Is that reparations?
Well, I think every black person should at least get $100,000.
$100,000, what do you think that's gonna do? That ain't gonna do nothing but make Cadillac #1 dealership in the country.
So everywhere you look, there's opportunity. You don't need that.
Opportunity, man. I had the opportunity to get this job last month. This crack-ass cracker gonna tell me I need a diploma. Now right there, that's racism, that's classism, that's eroticism. Man, come on, I'm talking about isms.
We don't need reparations, all right? We need restraint.
Restraint?
Restraint,
Man,
some discipline.
Whatever.
Don't go out and buy a Range Rover when you living with your mama. And pay your mama some rent. And can we please try and teach our kids something other than the Chronic album? And please, black people, be on time for something other than free before 11 at the club.
Drink time right there, baby.
You know what? That was a passionate and surprisingly well-articulated argument.
You mocking me?
Not at all, sir. I applaud your virtuosity.
You know what, schoolboy, for your information?
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to CRWS. We are covering Khari Enaharo's Race Code War, the power of words, images, and symbol on the Black psyche, pages 183 through 193. And getting started, we're concluding on discussing Barbershop, which interestingly enough came out 20 years ago, 2002, and sure everyone here on this chat has seen it, and many of the non-white people classified as black have probably also seen this film and probably watched it not knowing how racially coded it was. And the clip I played in the beginning is just riddled with racist code, racist messages, I suspect. And I hope folks notice or can notice and understand the dynamics between the person, the black male in the gray jacket, and the black male that has on the t-shirt that says got skills, you know, the lighter skin black male. The black male in the gray jacket is African. He is so-called African, and the light-skinned black male is a so-called Black American, and they're always in conflict with one another throughout the film, and I think that is definitely the kind of relationship that they want non-white people to have with one another, especially those of people classified as black. They don't want us getting along, and these two black people are in conflict throughout the whole film, and whether it's verbal or getting into each other's faces. And the film in itself is just so racist, but when we all were watching it, I'm pretty sure we all just felt it to be a feel good comedy movie that made us feel good. But I'm gonna read a little bit from Khari Enaharo's Race Cold War, page 184, because I do appreciate his decoding of this film. And then we're gonna continue talking about the clip and continue the discussion. So 184. To date, no Jewish individuals or groups have opposed reparations from the powerful and rich Swiss bankers. The Jews do not treat the issue of Jewish reparations as a joke or a wild dream. No group of people or foreign population on this earth has suffered more than Black people under white supremacy domination. And the Congo alone, during the rule of Belgium's King Leopold, there was as many as 10 to 15 million Black people killed, maimed, and slaughtered. In the same region since 1999, more than 3.5 million Black people have been killed. During the horrific Middle Passages slave ship crossing from Africa, Black people were lost by the millions. Their land was stolen. Black people are stripped of their identity. The family structure was destroyed, and the people branded as property. Yet Blacks in the film scoff and put down the idea of reparations. It is portrayed as a ludicrous idea with no substance or merit. This is one of the dangerous aspects of the movie. It is designed to send a message that says whatever you niggers went through is irrelevant. After all, you can handle it because you are savages and animals. You niggers have enough and should be happy that you have what you have. And I think it's so interesting as well that in 2022 we're doing a lot of talk, and last year and as of late we've been doing a lot of talk. Non-white people and white people have been talking about reparations. It's always a hot topic and a topic that can rattle people up, white and non-white. And this film, 20 years ago, long primed us and programmed us and helped to direct us in a way that we would not appreciate the idea of reparations, nor see any constructive value in it. Because it's really, he mentions that it's the eldest character. He is supposed to be the one that is seen with the most respect. People are supposed to listen to the elders, and if the elder is consistently the Black male who is being illogical, being nonsensical by mistreating the Black people who want reparations, and all in all by just being the instigator. Like we see in this film, Cedric Entertainer's character, he's the instigator. And I've also noticed that non-white people classified as Black, we have a tendency to, when Black people are in conflict with one another, we sometimes will instigate that conflict because we want to see it happen. And that was presented in the film and the trailer. In the clip we just saw earlier. I think I'll pause for there, see if folks have any notes they want to share in regards to this.
Hello, can I be heard? I know I can be. Yeah, so thank you for playing that clip 05. I think that clip is very important, and it really tells us, it shows us how important it is to read books and consume media that isn't only major motion pictures or television, because I think many of us, we watch these kind of things, right? This is an important discussion, right, that affects a lot of Black people, a lot of people who are classified as Black. So they watch this discussion and they get tips, ideas, and points to make to other Black people about the topic of reparations. So we'll take this kind of nonsense and take it to one another and start talking about it as if we're experts on the subject, or we even remotely know what we're talking about, when in reality we don't know what we're talking about. I fall victim to saying, oh, Black people don't need reparations, or some of those points, like, oh, Black people just, if they get it in cash, they're gonna go spend it on all kinds of materials or things. But that's a very incorrect statement. Black people, especially people classified as Black, need to be compensated for the work that they've done over throughout slavery, throughout history. And that does need to be that does need to be reparations. So I think that clip was very important, and it also causes a lot of confusion. So I think that's also why it's important to be reading texts like Race Code War, because if you don't know what you're looking at, if you're not paying attention and you're not decoding exactly what you're seeing or watching, you're gonna take this stuff and run with it and think it's correct. That's all I have to share right now.
People, how many times have we seen this, watched this in movies, TV shows, or whatever, where the so-called Black American is I want to say, having conflict with someone who is from so-called Africa. We see that played out all the time, and we have to ask ourselves why. Why? Who wants us to get this message? Who is this message for? And why do we keep it going? When there's police brutality, when a law enforcer, when he shoots and kills, when a racist suspect shoots and kills a Black person, they don't care where they came from. They don't care if they came from Africa, so-called Africa, and other places. So all they see is a Black person. They don't say, that person is this, so I'm not going to shoot them. No. So let's do away with the conflict of so-called Africans. Let's do away with that, please. I want to read on page 183. His character reflects how Black people feel about their African heritage and how they relate to the modern day motherland. White people with German heritage do not crack jokes and poke fun at or about their historical lineage. In this movie, Africa is symbolized and treated as a big joke. The treatment of Africa blurs the connection between the motherland and Black people, with the whole conflict and everything, and how we need to step away from that. I'll mute my line for now.
Just to add, one of the things, well, first of all, when I first saw Barbershop, I didn't recognize any of these racial codes because I was very young when I watched it, and I haven't watched it after learning about this material. So I think weird, or I guess it's not weird, it's calculated, very calculated. Because I'm pretty sure, as you mentioned in the beginning, like a lot of people have watched Barbershop and they would categorize this as like a comedy or I guess a Black film, quote unquote, whatever that means. But it's just interesting how they set these characters up to reflect certain parts of what people would say is Black identity, or this is quote unquote Black culture. And then they say, oh, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. Because even going on social media, you see memes of like scenes from Barbershop and everyone's like, ha, that's so funny. Like, that's like how my family is, or, oh, that's this and that's that. And they're almost like praising these like behaviors and not taking the time to like think about them. But also I'm saying that, and when they talk about like reparations, because as a kid, I didn't even know about reparations. I don't know what that means. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't until now, like as an adult, I think like, or a so-called adult, I think about how reparations, like the word reparation, is being used in the so on like Black community, or just in like everyday life, or, oh, some people say we need reparations, some people say we don't. but then it's the ones who aren't providing context of why they don't think we need reparations. And then when they do provide context or explanation about reparations, they always go straight to what people are going to spend the money on. And they don't think, why are they spending the money on this? You know, and also thinking about how Black people are just in a state of just, I don't want to use the word pity, but man, it's just like we're in a constant state of pity. So it's almost like the end would be like, instead of educating people, it's like obviously they're going to buy a car or buy this or buy that in a society where you need these things, quote unquote, if that makes sense. Or you're told you need these things, or they make it to where you do need these things. Because if you have to work across town and you have a kid or all these things, it's like, well, I kind of do need these things. So if I were to get reparations, I'm going to buy what I need first and not even think about investing it or building upon it or building on it. So yeah, just wanted to add that.
And to add to Nana Ya's point, she briefly mentioned about how people will mention how so-called we were wasted, or hint at not being constructive with the reparations, with the money that we're given. If that's the case, then why is so? Why? Who? If we so-called mismanage money, who taught us how to mismanage money? Who puts the bling bling and the flashy stuff and the name brand and the this and that? Who puts that in our face for us to buy? Who? That advertisement, you know, there's a psychology to that. So even to go into advertisement, you have to understand the mind and the psyche and colors and images and what it does to people. So if which I doubt, I don't think that we would do anything non-constructive, but if someone does, it's white people's fault, because they're the ones who put the images in our face. And I'll leave it at that.
And this movie is so masterfully crafted racist propaganda, because it's so under the radar. It's so hard to detect the racism in this film, and it's so dangerous because a lot of Black children, non-white children, were exposed to this film, and they grow up watching it and participating in jokes and laughter that involve Dr. King, Martin Luther King, being assassinated. There's a joke about in the film about him being a hoe, and that is said by Cedric the Entertainer's character says it, Eddie. And I'm just gonna read this paragraph because I doubt we'll ever see a bunch of so-called Jewish people calling Anne Frank a hoe, or making a movie where Jewish characters are making fun of Anne Frank, calling her a hoe or something like that. It just doesn't happen. But Dr. Martin Luther King assassinated, attempted to help non-white people classified as Black, shot in the head, and now racist characters, not racist characters, but racist caricatures created by white people, played by non-white people, are mocking him in this manner. Really interesting. White people are to blame, like Helen just said. But 185. This was truly, and the reference he's talking about was the quote from Eddie is Dr. King was a hoe. And to skip a bit, this was truly one of the most sickening references. Dr. Martin Luther King was killed at the early age of 39, fighting for freedom and justice for Black people. He took a bullet in his head because he would not back down against the raging power of hardcore white supremacy. He stood up against the forces of racism, faced character assassination, bomb threats, assassination attempts, death threats to his family, and yet this brave soldier fought on. To belittle this man that gave his life so that others might have a better life is a despicable act and simply unforgivable. This is the same as a Jewish American making a major motion picture that praises Nazi leader Hitler and calls former Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir a harlot or former Prime Minister Rabin a sexual pervert, it would be an unthinkable act of dishonor and disrespect to use a movie to transmit such a degrading message. It's a crowning achievement of modern racism. To use a movie to transmit such a degrading message is a crowning achievement of modern racism. The final thought left with the public is that Dr. King was a sexual pervert. The writers of this movie used Eddie, the eldest barber, one of the movie's most credible characters, to make this disgusting statement. Yeah, it's highly, highly refined racism hidden in plain sight because, you know.
Suggestion for those who are listening to this recording, please read Coretta Scott King, My Life, My Love, My Legacy. Read her bio, and she goes into this or whatever. And no, her husband was not a pervert, was not a whore. I mean, you're gonna say that these are words coming from Coretta Scott King. This is his wife, or was his wife. She would know him better than anybody. I mean, besides his parents, obviously. So if she did not believe that, if she said that, that's not true, that's just something that was said to tarnish his name so that people will focus on that more than the positive things that he accomplished and what he did with his life. It's just sad. I suggest everyone read this book by Coretta Scott King.
Yeah, I wanted to add, I think, once again, masterfully done by the racist white supremacists. This movie, once again, is talking about a very important topic, talking about somebody who did a lot more than, the character, Eddie. I think we can all agree that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has done more than what Eddie's done, but yet, in the manner that he's speaking about him, I think that the author also did I like how he phrased this section, like, who is the hoe? I think that's the title of the section. My book is found inside. Who is the real hoe? So and then he kind of talks about, some of the events that occurred, but really, who is the real hoe? He's calling Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. a hoe, and yet, this might be off code, so I'm not gonna continue. I don't want it to be off code, but when we have certain people doing things that damage, trash the name of Black people, not people classified as Black or non-white people who have done much for us and in our favor, or have attempted to do much for us, when they trash their names and degrade them for money and trinkets, you have to ask, who is the real hoe? That's all I'll say about that.
Eddie talked about how young Black people have no sense of history. Cedric the Entertainer and others have grown very famous and rich because of the sacrifices of men and women like Dr. King, Rosa Parks, and others. Not to discredit Dr. King and Rosa Parks, but Cedric the Entertainer and other Black people, they became famous and rich because of white people. White people gave the okay for them to be employed, for them to be actors. I'm talking about Cedric the Entertainer, to be actors, et cetera, et cetera. So not to discourage him at all, Dr. King and Rosa Parks, but no, white people gave that okay. And at the end, Cedric the Entertainer was given an award by the NAACP, and Rosa Parks refused to attend. Black self-respect there.
Completely agree. Thank you, Helen. That was a great point too, as well. The racist white supremacists have given Cedric the Entertainer all the opportunities and the money, and also I did include that as well. Great display of Black self-respect on Rosa Parks' part, in my opinion.
I have a question. So do you believe that do you believe that Black people are sold on the idea of progress and or like love thy neighbor? Everyone knows love thy neighbor. Is that why you think Black people are settling for like no reparations or nothing at all?
I don't think that Black people are settling for no reparations. I think there are a lot of non-white Black people who are fighting for and talking about and trying to get reparations. So I wouldn't say that they're settling. And for those who disagree or on the opposite side of reparations and don't feel like VGQ for them, you know, they have right to their opinion.
I think, sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the question is, do you believe that Black people are sold on the idea of progress or love thy neighbor, the quote? Is that why people would like, or basically is that the reason, or do you believe is that the reason why Black people are settling for no reparations?
I see. I don't believe that Black people are settling for no reparations. I think that many Black people either have zeroistic thinking, thinking that they can never have reparations or it's not possible to get reparations. I also think that some Black people may be confused about reparations, thinking that if they get reparations, it's somehow racist. Thinking that if they get reparations, it's going to cause all kinds of problems and divides that most of us here already know exist, but for them, they think if they get some kind of compensation that for some reason they don't deserve it or they haven't earned it, something along those lines. I think there's still a lot of confusion for many Black people when it comes to reparations and what to do about it.
Agreed. And to answer the first part, if we're sold, repeat the first part again. I'm sorry. Repeat the first part.
So the first part is, do you believe that Black people are sold on the idea of progress and or the phrase love thy neighbor?
Correct. Yes, we are sold on this idea of progress, and any little mark will do. Oh, we're getting further. We're getting further. Yay, yay. I mean, the tiniest, the most minimalist of work is done, and they're like, yay, we've made it. So yes, we are sold that. We're sold that by white people. Yes.
Yeah, I think the question was answered sufficiently, and I can provide, and I think codified answers were provided. I also think the NAACP awarding barbershop is evident that these so-called Black organizations that Black people have been led to believe that we run or that we can use for some sort of constructive changes or that we may believe may hold power is completely not true, because why would such a movie like Barbershop be celebrated like it's a film that is constructive for Black people, and why would the NAACP want this film to be and its character to be seen by large numbers of people? The only reason I suspected is that it's to spread this racist imaging, to spread the image of Black people being silly and confused on the screen, so everyone can just be aware. And I think this part right here is super telling and very accurate. From 186, it says, "It is a sad day when the most treasured icons of a racial group can be so easily trampled on, and the offenders are financially rewarded and uplifted, exalted, and admired. This message sends to the world that Black people really do not understand the power of images. No other racial population on this earth would allow such blatant disrespect and disregard to its most sacred images and symbols. Yeah. So this is probably why Rosa Parks didn't attend the ceremony, because she was probably blown away by just the incorrectness of it all, of them showing her the movie Barbershop and them expecting her to have a laugh about it, but there's nothing funny about racism, white supremacy.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I suspect this may be. I just have to say something about the NAACP's involvement in all of this. I think that is very telling for people who look towards that organization. I think the acronym is National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. So what exactly did they find in that film that promoted the advancement of colored people? That is something that we should think about when we see this organization involved in certain activities, right, that we would believe are going against the system of racism, white supremacy. So as not people classified as Black, non-white people all over the planet and in the Northern Hemisphere, let us pay attention to the NAACP, what they promote, what they support, and the kind of activities that they're involved in.
I want to go back a little bit to the last line of what Zerifar just read. No other racial population on this earth would allow such blatant disrespect and disregard to its most sacred images and symbols. Allow? If we don't understand what racism is, what it is and how it works, then how could we allow? Yeah, we could deny the parts. We could, not play the parts, not get involved in entertainment. And then, these people, they went to school for this. They have bills to pay. I think allow is not the correct term to use, not to criticize or critique the author, but allow, no. Yeah, you can't say that about people that don't understand, if they don't know.
I agree. I agree with that, with Helen. I thought about that word too when I read through it. But I also, when I kept reading on, and I got to the part where they said Rosa Parks refused to attend the award show, I started to think, like, once you understand, or once you start to basically understand racism, white supremacy, you almost have to take that next step, which is sometimes you just cannot do stuff, Sometimes you're like, oh, I do want to attend, or I want to do this. Like, you must try your hard, like everything inside of you. Like, I'm just not going to attend that just because it goes against what I believe. But I do agree with Helen. Like, it has to be after you are like, I guess I don't want to use the word aware, because I do feel like people are aware, but I guess understand. Use the word understand. That sounds better for me. Understand racism, white supremacy to its fullest, or even just a little bit of racism, white supremacy. Once you start understanding, then you have to maneuver differently within society. If you do choose to be in an entertainment industry, I know a few people right now who are making movies, and their focus, our attempted focus, is to be counter racist, like to showcase counter racism through the film. So I think once you start understanding, you do have to maneuver differently in society. But before then, I don't think it would be allowed. But I think someone needs to start teaching or provide opportunities for them to be taught within those industries, especially when they're taking roles in different movies or whatever. Because they do go to school for it. I understand. Like, I've been in school for so long, I'm out of it, and to me, it was a waste. But that's hard to get over, though. when people are going to school for certain fields and they realize once they get there, like, oh, this is just full of racism. And now I'm perpetuating it because I want to take this role and laugh about Black people and their hardships or whatever.
All right, now we're going to be discussing Monsters Ball. And I don't know how many folks have seen this decrepit film, but it's one that it's probably we've come across maybe in passing. I know I came across it, but I just never really understood what was happening in the film. I never really got it. Never really got the point. As I've gotten less confused about race and white supremacy, I now see this film to be the racist propaganda filth that it is. And I really like the question Khari Enaharo poses in regards to this film. This is from 186. He says, why would an actress at her level, referring to Halle Berry, of talent appear in a motion picture like this? Why was she given more accolades for a performance that was far less value than her roles in Losing Isaiah or Dorothy Dandridge? This role had no real value, or did it? The lead character played by Berry was a confused and highly misdirected Black female. This role symbolized the image of the Black female who cannot develop an effective relationship with any Black male. And oh wow, this movie. So all right, so I'm gonna continue reading and then share some content. And this movie, well, actually no, before I read this, I have to point out that Halle Berry, very, very attractive Black female when this movie came out. Billy Bob Thornton, old, ugly, white man. But they still end up an item, and that's a part of that racist propaganda, you know, telling a Black female, you know, you're not gonna be able to get, you know, a attractive, you know, fit white person. You got to get anyone you could get, you know. So if he's old, you know, go for it. It don't matter as long as he's white, you know, because no Black male is gonna be as good at this. Even the lowest of low of white man. I just had to point that out. And back to the text. This is from 187. In this movie, the father and the son, or both generations of Black males, are hopeless, dysfunctional, and short-lived. This symbolizes the destruction of generations of Black men. It is a subtle yet powerful message. The message is that it is better to kill or die than reproduce more Black males. It is a blessing to get rid of as many as possible because all of them are maladjusted beings that threaten the social order. The death of the father and the son in the movie symbolizes the wiping out of the Black male genes. There will be no son or daughter to give birth to a family of new monsters. The notion that Black males are monsters is a deep part of the white supremacist mindset and social construct. The word monster in the movie really means Black males. White males in particular often refer to Black male athletes with the racially coded phrase, he's a real beast. This wording is not so subtle, linking Black males with beasts and monsters. Thus, a monster's ball is a code for rescuing the Black male from the clutches of these monsters. The message is very clear, and it says, even a low-life racist is better for the Black female than a Black male. I think it's very significant that both Halle Berry's offspring and her attempted Black male care mate die in this film very, very early. And that it could symbolize what Khari Enaharo says, wiping out the Black male gene, because we know the Black male in the system is the greatest threat to the system, according to racist logic. So before I could, before I continue, I see if folks want to chime in.
I want to again slightly, even though losing Isaiah, I think Halle Berry did an excellent job. I want to slightly disagree with him on that movie, on picking that movie. I agree with the Dorothy Dandridge. I think that was very good movie too. But because I think in losing Isaiah, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. But Halle Berry, I think she was on drugs, if I'm not mistaken. That's why she lost her son. I can't. It's been a very long time since I've seen that movie, so that's why I wouldn't pick losing Isaiah for that reason. And yeah, oh, and the message is do not, I'm talking about Monsters Ball. The message is do not hitch your wagon to black males because they are criminals, unstable, unreliable, and will not be there to take care of you. We have seen this message over and over again. That's all they promote. That and that is yeah, but if that were true, why is that? Oh, because they're locked up. And why are they locked up? Or et cetera, et cetera. Because white people locked them up for the minor infractions. And yeah, I'll mute my line for now.
Yeah, sorry. I wanted to add, I haven't seen Moneyball, but there's a number of movies where black males are depicted as monsters and the black female is just better off getting as far away from them as possible. One movie in particular that I remembered was it's on Netflix. I believe it's called A Night and a Day, All Day and a Night, where similarly where the author's talking about, you know, the black father dies and then the son dies, and it's sorry, on 187 says, in this movie the father and the son are both generations of black males are hopeless, dysfunctional and short-lived. This symbolizes the destruction of generations of black men. In that movie, it's very similar. The father is in prison for life. The son is, you know, out on the streets. I think he's selling drugs and trying to become a rapper. And then ultimately he ends up going to jail. He's with a black female and they have a child on the way. And I guess he can't resist the urge to do drugs, and not do drugs, but sell drugs or shoot somebody. You know, just that black male instinct within him, that monstrous instinct with him is just overtaking all kinds of logic for him. So he ends up going to jail for life. And that's kind of the same thing that's saying here, you know, black males are nothing but monsters. They can't be relied upon. And when you're anywhere near them, expect death, destruction, and despair to happen. I think that is all done and created by the racist white supremacists. They create the conditions for that to happen. People don't grow up, aren't born like that. You know, they're taught to act that way, they're conditioned to act that way. And this movie is just another, you know, great piece of racist propaganda in which the message is stay away from black males, black females, you have no hope with them. Get you whatever not even young, get whatever white male you can find yourself. And I think a lot of black females, unfortunately, even black males have internalized that. And whether or not they agree with what's being shown in the movie, a lot of them live that kind of life, and whether they want to admit it to themselves or not. But I think we can see, especially with the number of interracial relationships that are going on, this kind of being, I think, one of the motivators.
Extremely.
I want to add.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to quickly add to that. I was going to add to that, just very brief. They mentioned how the role that Barry played was symbolized the image of black female who cannot develop an effective relationship with any black male. That is very common in movies, shows, media, television, everywhere. That is like just a very common thing. And it's always just when there is a depiction or just an image of Black relationship, like Black female, Black male, it's always like that struggling like relationship. Always something is going on. It doesn't work out. They get a divorce or whatever it is. It's just a never like quote unquote happy ever after, quote unquote, whatever that means.
They're telling us the truth. Now that they are telling us truth. It's never going to work in an incorrect situation. So I commend the white supremacists for always reminding us that you're dysfunctional before you're even born, because you're in a dysfunctional system of people, really. To speak about it as literally. But I think everybody should remember Miss Berry, whoever she is, she bedwenched just to be on a camera in front of us. And I know I'm not name calling, I describe the behavior without being too descriptive. But just to become a person on the screen, you have to bedwench as a Black female. So that's the greatest insult and the greatest detriment to Black people, non-white people, period, is the fact that to get on that screen, you have to lay with your enemy and enjoy laying with your enemy and lay with as many more in order to maintain that position. And I do not think, and I do not conclude, it's just an opinion, that any Black female you've ever seen on a screen did not earn the right to get there by being a bedwench. And it's not a past, it's a current, continuous tense. And that's just the way they get down. Before she ever got there, she already was participating in the most insulting, aggressive form of white supremacy. So she should never be commended for being a good liar, because that's all in essence a so-called actor or actress is. Even the dude who just died, you're a good liar, because they pay you to pretend as if what is true is not true and something else is true for you, your single Black self in the movie, or your single Black female self in the movie. So it's all lies. And to try to derive pleasure from it, that's a sick mind at all, to try to derive pleasure from any of these roles, in my opinion.
Thank you. Thank everyone for their comments. And so the film also depicts just the total incorrect existence that most so-called Black families consist of. We have a Black female doing a terrible job at taking care of her offspring, because she's a confused victim of racism who's not allowed to take proper care of her offspring. We see him here on the screen now, Black male. He's depicted as a obese Black child. And Khari Enaharo says a lot of he decodes what the eating means. He does an excellent job at symbolizing the eating. I'm not gonna share too much on it because it's because I just don't want to, but I will read this a bit, and hopefully that will motivate folks to do some further research on it, or to pick up your copy of Race Code War. This is from 187. And it says, the act of overeating symbolizes an oversexed individual, a glutton with no scruples, morals, or limitations on what he would do. He does an excellent job of decoding obesity in a sense, or what greedy characters mean. So I would encourage everyone to get their copy of the Race Code War. But the actor, Karonji Calhoun, actually died at the age of 30, because we are in a system of racism and white supremacy, and Black males are not supposed to exist into a old age. We're supposed to die very young. Case in point given here, and I don't know if this role of this character did him any favors, because it didn't seem like he was able to get on a health producing trajectory in his existence, because dead at 30. Pretty sure it was due to health problems. And oh yeah, and final things I want to say about this character. In regards to fat characters, he is often the victim of laughter and ridicule and is left behind. This feeling of rejection stimulates a deep resentment for a woman. He might blame his mother for being fat and being without a woman. In essence, the child in this movie is a monster in the making. It is better to destroy the child than allow it to destroy mankind. And remember, this black child, dies in this film. I believe he got ran over, he got hit by a car. Anywho. And then he discusses just the incorrectness of Halle Berry, beautiful character, sleeping with this ugly old senile racist white supremacist Billy Bob Thornton's character. Folks want to chime in before I continue?
Just a quick question: is he not an admitted racist in the film?
Yeah, I think he is an admitted racist in the film.
Oh, so she's chosen a admitted racist to have another. I haven't seen the film, but just from what the book was saying, she's chosen an admitted racist to have another child with, to aka have another shot at life.
Well, I don't know if he deliberately says, "Hey, I'm a racist," but he does things that are clearly racist and mistreating her.
Yeah, this movie sounds like garbage.
Yeah, it is.
Why is she considered so beautiful? I never have understood that. She looks pretty mannequin to me. And fake breasts, that's not even her. Well, why is she considered beautiful? Other than she looks plain like a white person with darker skin. Not a curve was born on her body. They all cosmetically implanted. She looks like a little white man with brown skin. Why is she? Can somebody please help me? Look at her lips, her nose, her face, smashed all in. What? I've never saw her as beautiful. I knew from the beginning that's a white man's hoe. Sorry if anybody offended by the word. When I was a child and I saw her, when I was ignorant about white supremacy, I thought that's a white man's hoe. Somebody please tell the beautiful Africanness of her or something.
Comparing her, well, I'll go first. Comparing her to Billy Bob Thornton, to me personally, there's a clearly obvious differences and how pleasing she looks and how unpleasing Billy Bob Thornton looks. So
I dig it. But I've never found her as a so-called good actress, convincing actress, or physically attractive. Her characters are all the same person, this weak little mouse. To me, it's pathetic.
I think that she's projected as beautiful. Mainly, I guess I can agree with you because I think she's projected as beautiful mainly because her body shape and body type resembles that of a white woman more than anything.
No curves.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, I'm not sure. But that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, the film also has some really other telling messages within the film. There's I guess Billy Bob Thornton has a son who also dies. He has a son that kills himself in front of his father, because I guess the son didn't like it, that the fact that his father was racist. So he says Khari Enaharo decodes this as, from 188, rather than live in a racist world or become a racist, he chooses to die a violent death. However, another message comes through loud and clear. The inference is that because he chooses not to be a white supremacist, he is weak and mentally deranged and deserves to die. So, you know, if you are a white person and you do not you do not choose to practice racism, white supremacy, then I guess white people are saying to you that you deserve to die. You know, you're weak. You don't deserve to exist in our system if you don't want to help the system of white supremacy continue. Khari Enaharo may be decoding this wrong, or I may be understanding his decoding wrong, but I think it's really interesting. Another tragic but correct analysis is with just the fact that what the characters in this film are doing. And he says this white male insertion only furthers the disruption and confusion among Black people. Sleeping with an avowed enemy of her race indicates that she has high levels of weakness, childlike behavior, stupidity, and confusion. The white male insertion only contributes to the level of confusion and misdirection. It implies that she sees herself as really belonging to him. Despite her attempts to go the other way, her blog calls to the white side. As the film ends, the message is clear that the future of Black females is to be with white males. This is another subtle attack on Black unity and stability. The movie glorifies the symbolism and idea that being a racial traitor is a patriotic thing to do. And I think this can be seen in 2022, where we have Black females encouraging each other and celebrating each other for getting raped by white men, or Black males getting celebrated and encouraged for being raped by white women. You know, we see a Black male or a Black female with a white person, we be like, oh, you go girl, you go boy, you know, you just doing you, you know, love is love, you know, love is blind. So, and I think this film was super damaging. I think for Black males who watched this film and saw like the attempted father get executed and saw the Black male offspring get killed, and then saw the victim of it get raped by a white man or have sex with Billy Bob Thornton, I think this is really harmful for people to watch this stuff. This movie, Monsters Ball, and I don't know. I think this also damaged the psyche of Halle Berry. I think this victimized her further, having to play this role. I may be incorrect, incorrect, but I think it did.
At my attempt of answering EJ's question, I don't think she's unattractive. I think she is attractive, but I think I have been programmed to think of Halle Berry as attractive because she has a white parent. I have heard in the past that when a white person captures a Black person and they produce a baby, that, oh, that baby come out, oh, so pretty, oh, so gorgeous, oh. So I think that is why I have been trained and programmed by white people to see Halle Berry as extremely attractive.
We have to change that dialogue. Call them what they are. Lacking of color, weak hair, weak genetic code. Black people, unfortunately, who come from a rape. And unfortunately, they have the, the mutation. We should stop cherishing people with lighter complexion or complaint or somehow complimenting people with these weak genetic characteristics. We should call them what they are and then hold ourselves to that. Change your thinking. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said, most black is most beautiful. Not fetishized, but most beautiful, most worthy to be, if anybody, to be imitated. It's the prototype.
Well said.
Agree.
Was there more comments about Monsters Ball before we get into the final film that Khari mentions with his training day?
One more thing. I remember seeing that movie before I knew from Gus about the writing change and Lee Daniels being brought in. I remember the first time I seen that film by myself. And I think I was already supposedly an adult. But my first thought when she went in the house to get ice cream.
No, I'm afraid it isn't. No, I'm afraid it is. Because it's a mollusk.
Hold on, something
Before
started
it comes to your dinner
playing.
plate, it got.
My apologies. Continue.
I remember when she walked out of the room, my whole mind and spirit said, I will blow his goddamn head. She gonna blow his head off. I know I would. I know she's gonna blow his head off. And then she came back out with the ice cream, and it was like, oh man. And I asked other black dudes who I knew at the time, what'd you think about? And they all thought this, killed. Everybody thought she was gonna kill him. But the white said, no, 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 no. He's gonna go out a hero with a fetishized racist symbol in the end, some chocolate ice cream.
Yeah.
Sorry to spill the tea, but it's worth it.
Yeah, and just to give that context, so she was going to kill Billy Bob Thornton's character because he is the reason that her partner, her care mate, the black male, was placed on death row and executed. Like she is the reason, he is the reason for that. So she's gonna get revenge and kill him. But they can never show black people getting revenge, especially getting revenge against acts of racism. So the ending was changed to her, Billy Bob Thornton, eating some chocolate ice cream, which will eventually segue into her being raped by him again under the guise of them having passionate sex.
In the movie, she was confused. That's how it ended, with her having a confused, devastated look. And I think they did that on purpose because there's a lot of movies with black people and TV shows where the main black character, after thinking they were smart and thinking they were whatever, they end the scene or they end the movie with the black person being stunned and confusion. Very common in movies. If you watch a lot of movies with black people in it, Sidney Poitier was often that character where he was stunned when some white behavior turned out to be way worse than he thought it was.
And I think the Monsters Ball ending is accurate because that's what sex with white people, that's what sex with a white person does to a non-white person. It confuses us. It confuses us to a super, super pitiful degree, as we saw in Monsters Ball. Alrighty, I'm gonna play this clip and then we're gonna get the discussion on training day. Get that back right here. Get this. Alrighty.
You don't deserve this.
shake. Go ahead and bounce on me. Get up out of here. We got your back.
What?
Just like that.
Oh, no, you didn't. Wait a minute. No, you did. Hey, Jay! Hey! Jay! 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 Come back here! Jay! You disloyal, fool-ass, bitch-made punk. Jay! I need my money! Jay! Oh, you motherfuckers. Okay. All right. I'm putting cases on all you bitches. Huh? You think you can do this shit? Jay! You think you can do this to me? You motherfuckers will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I get finished with you. Shoe program, nigga. 23-hour lockdown. I'm the man up in this piece. You'll never see the light of day. Who the fuck you think you fucking with? I'm the police. I run shit here. You just live here. Yeah, that's right. You better walk away. Go on, walk away, because I'm going to burn this motherfucker down. King Kong ain't got shit on me. That's all right. Shit, I don't fuck. I'm winning anyway. I'm winning. I'm winning any motherfucking way. I can't lose. Shit, you can shoot me, but you can't kill me. Yeah. Oh, what a day. What a motherfucking day.
Okay, so I'm gonna decode what we've seen just now on the screen. We saw a black male, a victim of racism or white supremacy. We saw a black male depicted as being truly what a black male is, a person who has no one, no support, everything that this black male had, Alonzo, was taken away from him by Jake. We even see his son being taken away from his sight with the non-white female character's name. I forget her name, but she's so-called Mexican. She takes him away out of sight from Denzel Washington's character. We see all the black people in the street who at one point in time had some sort of appreciation, maybe even respect for Alonzo's character, even though he's a non-constructive character, a victim of racism. But I thought I've seen this movie so many times. Now that I'm less confused, I'm able to decode it in a whole different way. Like for example, I see the movie and I see like Jake's character is just a white person who was getting into the business of maintaining white supremacy by being a race soldier, and he happens to have a black male as the person who's supposed to train him, how to be a law enforcement, because non-white people can't be race soldiers. So, but as Jake goes on their training day, they see this black male is not maintaining the system the way it's supposed to be maintained. He's treating the animals more crudely than they should be treated. So Jake has to eventually stop Alonzo's, because he is not practicing white supremacy or using the tools of white supremacy correctly. So it goes from him being trained to him having to kill the I guess the head nigga in charge, the in this filming case, the head nigga in charge. Anyways, I'll pause there and see if folks have things to say about the clip. If not, we could go into what Khari Enaharo has said about this film.
For me, I think it shows the white savior complex, the paternalism that Yorubas often display in actual life and in media. So this is another film I haven't seen, but I believe I'll watch it sometime in the near future. But as we can see, he is coming to liberate all of them from the big black male monster's tyranny. He's given them a so-called choice to, having them think that they can think, that they're able to think for themselves and whatnot. And this is what's shown throughout many films. I think it's especially interesting. Once again, I haven't seen this film, but in that clip, it didn't look like there are any other white people around or anything. So why couldn't this have been another black male or just a black person in general who could have came and liberated these people, but made them think that they could think for themselves or whatnot? It had to be a white person. The only white person for miles, is their savior. Couldn't have been the another black person, because they can't think for themselves. They can't think outside of crime and whatnot. Just another racist image for all of us to consume. Thanks for decoding.
Yeah, and there's so much more. I think Ray L. Eve Mendez. Yeah, that's the character's name. The film has so much, and I've seen this movie so much. So when he's talking about it, my mind is able to go back to the scenes, and it's so wow. So this film, I grew up where this film was so-called based, where it takes place. The Jungles is this place where I'm gonna read it, and he's referencing the jungle right here, the Jungles, which is a place where the so-called gang known as Bloods occupy. And growing up, I always used the term, always heard people use it. I'm about to go to the jungles. Are you living in the jungles? That's crazy, man. That's crazy over there in the jungles. I've heard this terminology. Not once did I connect it to racism, white supremacy, and say, hey, the jungle. If that's the jungles, does that mean that the animals live there? Are the black people who live there animals in a jungle? I had never had the logic in my mind to say that until understanding white supremacy. This is the first time I actually ever said that. But I'm gonna read it because a lot of this is really, really significant and highly interesting. Training Day is this is from 190. Training Day is a modern day version of the old style Western and Tarzan movies rolled into one. The Western and the Tarzan films were racial conquest movies. Tarzan was pure white supremacy domination. He ruled over Africa and was the king of the black natives. The word Western is a movie genre, has very little to do with a geographical location. If it were only a geographical location, there would have been movies designated as Eastern or Northern movies. The two movie genres that made any reference to geographical designations were Old South and Western. In both genres, the geographical locations were code words for racial domination. The Old South movies, such as Gone with the Wind, emphasized the enslavement and domination of Black people. The thousands of Western movies symbolize the harshest element of hardcore racial domination. In decoded language, the word Western is a racial term that means white supremacist culture, white domination, genocide against red people, and stealing valuable lands and resources. This is why the image of John Wayne is so powerful and long-lasting, and the white supremacist frame of reference, why embodied the very idea of the white conqueror and imperialist engaged in the practice of manifest destiny. So there's a part in the movie where Ethan Hawke, he has to go to the jungles. He has to go there alone, and it's dark, and it's just him by himself. And it's supposed to remind you of like the lone gunslinger coming into the town to kill the big bad guy, which is often symbolized as a black person. In this case, in this film, it actually is a black person. So I'm gonna skip a bit because I want to read that that part, because that's I always thought something was really interesting about that scene watching it. Here it goes. He walks alone down the darkened street. This is from 192. He walks alone down the darkened streets in a scene that symbolizes both the wilds of Africa, as in the jungle, and Dodge City in the Wild West. He must now demonstrate the courage to stand alone and face down the scourge of the earth. The gallant white hero has come to settle the score with the bad guy. He walks alone as there are no other human beings in sight in this full angle shot. This setting is a classic Western formula of the get out of town before sundown. Yeah, he's just there, him and his gun, stalking the streets of Crenshaw, because that's where the jungles is located, in the Crenshaw Baldwin area. Very, very interesting, super heavily coded movie. I think this film is by David Area, or I may be incorrect. But he has a record of producing. It's either by him or someone else. Anton something. Yeah, Anton something. Anton, look. Let me see. Oh, yeah, it's actually Anton Fuqua, which is a black male. Wow, really interesting. Black male director. Oh, here it is. David Ayer. Here we go. David Ayer is a white man, suspected racist. I knew I wasn't that confused. Yeah, so David Ayer is the writer. So what's being said by the character, done by the character, is coming from the white mind, of course. Did folks have notes that they wanted to share about from this section, or did they not find it? Did not take notes on this section? Not have anything to share?
I always thought that it was interesting that first Hattie McDonald, she won for being a maid and Gone with the Wind. Halle Berry for Monster Ball for being in a tragic relationship, and Denzel Washington for this role, and not for Malcolm X. Even before reading this book, I always thought that was interesting. I was like, Malcolm X is way better than this. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that part.
For me, some of the things that I took note of were the author's decoding, especially when he was talking about how in the title, I guess, of the film, how they're standing and how they're facing left and stuff, what they're doing with their body language, and how it shows that he says both of the men, this is 190, both of the men's heads in the photo are turned to the left. This is designed to transmit leftist or so-called radical ideas. Turning to the left also implies going in the wrong direction, or if it is a police officer, it means engaging in corruption. I thought that was very interesting. Got to pay more attention to that right then and there. And then also with the white t-shirt, he said when the white t-shirt implies that he's also a sellout to Black people. That's another great one. And this was something I forgot to mention from Moneyball, but he said that this is, I guess, a criticism that I have. I mean, like,
Monsters Ball.
Monsters Ball. He said that he is a race traitor. He was calling the white male's son who killed himself a race traitor, and I don't believe that there's such thing as race traitors. I don't think white people can be race traitors under the system of racism, white supremacy, mainly because even if they do speak out against racism, white supremacy, they still receive benefits from it. Case in point, Tim Wise, people like him, still receiving many benefits, even though they are so-called race traders. That's the end of my notes. Let me see. Yeah, that's all that I have on that one. I'm gonna watch this film and see if I can decode anything else.
Yeah, this film is very incredibly despicable racist propaganda. I used to love it. You got Mary J. Blige in the film being a drug dealer, and you got Denzel Washington just robbing Black people. And back to what Helen B said, how all the victims of racism she mentioned, they received an Oscar for their role. Gone with the Wind, Monsters Ball, Training Day. All Black people received trinkets for playing these characters. But when Denzel Washington was playing a highly constructive character in the film John Q, where he's saving his Black male offspring's life, getting him a whole new heart, super Black male self-respect. No awards, no Oscar for that film, which is way better acted, in my opinion. And so yeah, super telling of what kind of images they want to celebrate Black people with, and it's us being harmful and crazy. And Quakey, you mentioned the imagery, like the blocking, like in film it's called blocking, which like the positions of the character, what they're wearing and what they're looking at, and all the accessories, all that is called blocking. Everything you see on the screen, and it's super. His decoding of it is very very, very interesting, and I think it's correct because you see he said that Ethan Hawke is just looking to the left. He's just observing. He spends a lot of time in the film observing Denzel Washington's character Alonzo really just being a crazy nigger. And then eventually he decides that the nigger has gone too far, and he puts a stop to it. He literally said he allows Denzel Washington's character to do so much, and then he decides, okay, nigger had done too much, I gotta put a stop to it. And he does it, white power. And then it's not mentioned by Khari Enaharo, but I'm remembering that in the very beginning movie, in the beginning of the film, Training Day, we discovered that Ethan Hawke's wife is pregnant. And now that I understand white supremacy, racism, and I understand the fear of white genetic annihilation, that's significant. Of course, his wife is pregnant. Okay, this is a white man here. This is a white man supporting white supremacy. This is a white man with a gun. So of course he has a working penis that has procreated, helped to bring a white child to planet, is helping to bring a white child to planet Earth. But that was another and compare that to Denzel Washington's character. He says he has a bunch of kids, but all the offspring we see of his are not fully Black. So while Ethan Hawke is bringing more white children than planet Earth, Denzel Washington's character is not bringing. He's bringing non-white people to Earth, yes, but not people fully classified as Black. Not that it really matters. It's just something that I've noticed as well. More coded messages. Go ahead.
So this is also from Monster Ball. One other thing, and it has to do with the section titled "The Big Fat Son." When the author was describing describing the son's obesity. I'll just read this part. He says, there are countless illusions from the world. I'm on 187. There are countless illusions from the world of art and fashion design that draw strong correlations between food, eating, and sex. The bonding word among the worlds of eat, food, and sex is the word oral. This is a sexual label. The act of overeating symbolizes an oversexed individual, a glutton with no scruples, morals, or limitations on what he would do. So I thought that that was also very interesting because oftentimes Black people are depicted as obese in a lot of films when they are given roles. So the idea that because this Black male is overeating and overconsuming, he can't control his sexual urges, I think that fits directly into the minds of the white supremacists and what they truly think about Black people. But once again, I don't think that that Black child, has any control over what he eats. I don't think he's the one that creates the food and makes it so tasty. But I thought that that was another interesting and very I guess high level decoding there. That I wouldn't have connected the two. I never would have connected obesity with oversexed individuals. So that was another thing that I'll be looking out for in future films.
Yeah, precisely. This is why I said, please, folks, get your copy of Race Code Wars, because there's so much information in this text that folks should know, but we don't. Yeah, so I appreciate you reading it. Folks should know this information, but we're not going to cover the entire text 100%, which is why we hope we're doing our best, but folks should know this information. But yeah, I'm reminded of Spawn, the fat character in that film, in 1990 Spawn film. But yeah, back to Training Day. And I also noticed something with the film, now that I'm less confused. I've seen Alonzo's character, Alonzo die at the end of the film so many times. I just think it was cool. I think it was so cool to see those Russians, aka white people, get out the car and spray them with the automatic machine guns. With the AKs. I thought it was epic. I used to like watch that scene with a grin and a chuckle. I guess folks haven't seen it. Should put it on this. Should I put it on the screen? Now I won't put it on the screen unless. Quaker, would you like to see what I'm talking about? I think maybe the only person who hasn't seen it. Would you like to see what I'm talking about?
I'll watch the film.
All right. Well, yeah.
Seen it though.
Yeah. During the scene, during that scene where he's like executed by all the people shooting him with the machine guns, they laugh. They laugh, and now that I'm less confused, I'm like, oh wow, yep. This is racism, white supremacy 101. Killing Black people is fun to white people. At first, how they corner him, how they he tries to run a little bit. They corner him, he can't run. They have him surrounded, and then they just kill him like a hunted animal, and then they laugh while doing it. And this is wow. It reminds me of the Ahmaud Arbery case. I'm pretty sure that's how that went.
Oh wow!
But
wow.
Yeah, this is a very, very significant film if you want to use it to understand white supremacy. Also, the title, he does an excellent job of decoding the title. I'm going to go ahead and read it. So from 191, he says, the training word is most often associated with animals in a cage, on the loose, or a chain, or in the zoo. The training word implies obedience to the master. Dogs, cats, and animals are trained while human beings are educated and cultivated. The movie title has deep racial implications. It connotes that living environments that are heavily populated by Black people are like the jungles of Africa. This means that these communities are wild, hot, dangerous, and uncivilized. The role of the police officers or law authority is to contain the animals in the jungle in order to keep them from ruining civilization. This theme has been used in a number of motion pictures. One of the most glaring examples is a line from the movie Prince of the City. Actor Treat Williams, who plays a corrupt narcotics detective, indicates to federal investigators dealing with police corruption in New York City that they are the only barriers to them in the jungle, which decoded means keeping the animals from overrunning civilization. The only time the animal is allowed out of the jungle is when he/she has been trained to be obedient to the master. This thinking was borne out by the gorillas in the mist statement of white police officers in connection with the Rodney King beating in Los Angeles. The concept of the training day was to instruct the white rookie cop on how to deal with the Black community, or in decoded language, the gorillas in the zoo. In one of Denzel's lines, he says, King Kong ain't got nothing on me. This is incorrect. He actually says, King Kong ain't got shit on me, as he stands near his black car after losing a showdown with the white rookie cop. This is a very strong and powerful evocation of the name King Kong, making it very clear that Denzel's character is a gorilla of the same name. Yeah. And yeah, you have Denzel Washington, calling himself a monkey in a movie. So refined. Many of us missed it. I know I missed it all those times I watched this film growing up, for sure. Training Day. And also the film Training Day, it was like for every white person who watches this film, it's their training day, that they're seeing how Black people are meant to be depicted in their system. Yeah, this is how we want to show the Black male. We want Snoop Dogg in a wheelchair selling crack, trying to hide the fact that he's selling crack by swallowing the crack. We got Black crackheads in the alley trying to rape females, hanging out with white bums trying to rape females. We got Black males who are going around robbing other Black people. Yeah, this is how we want to depict Black people in our film. So if you're a writer, write something like this. We'll get somebody cool to direct it. Maybe Anton, Fakwa, maybe someone like that. We get them directed. And yeah, this is how we want to. If you want to support white supremacy in this manner, come to Hollywood. But if you're a Black person, you're seeing Denzel Washington. You thinking it's cool. You're thinking it's cool to see Denzel Washington in the hood shooting his Berettas at Black people. Shooting his Berettas at Black gangbangers after robbing a drug dealer. You think it's cool to see Denzel Washington like outsmart and finesse a lot of Mexicans and get this white person in trouble and danger. You think that's cool? I thought it was cool, at least. Thought it was awesome. Thought Denzel Washington was a real badass in this movie. Someone that I could possibly aspire to be in some manner, shape, or form. So this is the danger of this sort of racist logic, this sort of racist propaganda. It gets in our psyche, and we begin to be highly confused by it. And the confusion is us thinking that it's cool, it's constructive. I used to think it was cool. I thought it was constructive that Denzel Washington got an Oscar for this film. But that's how retarded I am and how confused I was. I have more to say, but I'm gonna pause there and see if folks have comments.
You're not alone in your admiration for the movie. I felt the same way.
Yeah. So religion comes in again. Religion is always there. It's probably all right. Yeah. This will be I'm gonna pause the stream. I'm gonna do a little promotion of the code in the form of playing a little video for all of us, and then I'm gonna read this. It all ties together. CRWS, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me get the clip on the screen. Also check out counter-racism.com. Also check out Context of White Supremacy, that can be found on blacktalkradio.com. Definitely should be explored by people classified as Black. Help us become less confused about race and white supremacy, what it is and how it works. Just give me a second. I'm trying to get this clip. Oh, here it is on the screen. Wait, isn't I think this is interesting. Let me see. Okay, I think I may have been confused. I'll just play the backup. Let's play the backup, and then we'll get to it.
Types, four forms of it that you can get to by going to producejustice.com. You'll see it in the textbook, the forms that it takes. And that is Black people's biggest drawback when it comes from not only not having a code, but not really being focused on countering and eliminating racism as the reason for being. Whereas the white supremacists, their whole reason for being, for existing, is white supremacy. They have no other reason for even existing. This is why they're in such opposition to anybody changing it. Because if you take white supremacy away from a white person who believes in white supremacy, you've taken everything. You haven't just taken something. And it's the same way with Black people. You take away the ability for a Black person to show off to another Black person, that Black person is now suicidal.
Alrighty. ProduceJustice.com, everyone classified as Black, everyone non-white, so-called Asian, yellow, brown, so-called Mexican, red, so-called Native American, should have a copy of the code book so we can, unite around a code and solve the race problem once and for all. So page 193, we get the just super overt religious symbolism, and you can see here and the Washington character is wearing a cross, religion, Christianity, something that was beaten into Black people, and we can't seem to get away from it now. We just can't seem to escape it. And it's something that white people love. White people love, highly appreciate. When I say love, I mean highly appreciate non-white people's confused attachment to religion, because they position themselves as God, as Jesus Christ. So of course they love Black people jumping up and down about Jesus Christ and God, because that's them and their racist logic. So it allows for them to get away with a lot of stuff, because when we see a white person and we are very confused about racism, sometimes we're not seeing just a white person, but sometimes we're seeing God. Sometimes we're seeing Jesus Christ when we see that white person named Brad or that white woman named Shirley. Sometimes we're seeing God when we see these people, because that is how powerful the system is, and that is how brainwashed we have been by the system. So, and that could, and I say all that to read this in regards to the scenes in this movie. The lookouts are the same as those in the background in old Indian movies. The armed lookouts are never shown in any clarity. They are never caused to the hero to break his stride. He never responds to the questions because he doesn't have to. He is the man. The earlier scene in the movie where the gun was placed in the middle of his frontal hip area, the idea of manhood and fatherhood very clear. He is the Lone Ranger riding into the red man's stronghold to capture a crazy mad Indian and implement the white man's justice. When the rookie reaches the house where Denzel is located, he is met at the door by three tough-looking black males. The lead black male has a glistening cross around his neck and is smoking a thin brown cigar, which decoded means he has a small penis or no balls to stand up to Jake. Despite all of his gangster ways and bravado, Denzel needs a savior. When Jake tells them that he is there to take care of Denzel, they stand aside to let him walk through like Moses parting the waters of the Red Sea. And I'm gonna pause there and mention Dr. Francis Welsing, the ISIS papers, guns as symbols. Everyone should also read the ISIS papers or go to CRWS and check out one of our studies on the ISIS papers. We covered that book twice, well, 3 times, cover to cover. 2 of those times are on YouTube. So please check out if you want to understand the symbolism behind all this racist messaging that we see in TV and film and everywhere, honestly. And I'm gonna go ahead and continue. So we already saw some religious symbolism, some religious brainwashed black people who are seeing this white person come along, and they just let them go in to take out the black male, to kill the black male. All right, continuing from 193. Jake is a symbolic white man, and he cannot be denied entry to any location on this earth. No black man can ever stand in his way. As they step aside to allow the rookie to move toward the door, the black male's white glistening cross shines strongly in the night. The glistening white cross means that he is a disciple of the white Jesus. In his mind, the white rookie is the promised one. He is the Messiah / Savior that they have been looking for to do battle with the black devil. The rookie is so good that he even convinces Denzel's little innocent son to betray father in favor of a complete stranger. This racial message that means that a black son or the future of the race should turn against his black father and pledge his belief and loyalty to the white man. It means that from the earliest age possible, the black child should be programmed to trust and select the leadership, white man, white leadership, and white domination over black man / black woman, black leadership, and black development. So I'm gonna pause here to say that in this film, I'm also remembering that I remember seeing Denzel Washington's character, Alonzo's, his offsprings, watch Most times in the film, when we see him, he's watching TV. So I think that's evident that what Khari Enaharo is saying here is correct, because how we are programmed consistently is through the TV. We will turn on that Disney Channel, turn on that Nickelodeon, turn on that Cartoon Network. 10 years later, 10 years later we are strutting down, carrying a multicolored flag, talking about we got all these identities. Talking about we multiple people, and not trying to solve the race problem, but trying to have sex 24/7, trying to consume various drugs and alcohol that will allow us to have sex more. And so this is what this programming means. And so this is what at least that's what I've seen. I've seen it in my victim unit, and I've seen it in people I've encountered. So I thought it was also, and it's very tragic, because in my own existence, I have occurrences where this was demonstrated in my own existence, where a complete stranger racist suspect was able to get myself or someone in my victim unit to turn against one of us with their word, with their deceit, or just with their just white power. Very, very tragic. And we saw this what I'm reading now. We saw this, and the training day clip I played, where like all the Black people supporting the white man, supporting white supremacy over giving Alfonso the help that his character clearly needs. The character needs help, but he's not getting the help he needs, so he's having to do what he's doing. So it says here from 194, at the end of the movie, the savior gives the people, actually, no, I wasn't gonna read that one. I was gonna read this. This movie sends a damaging and recurring racial message that Black males are no good and have no credibility, while the white man is always righteous and correct. The awarding of an Oscar to Denzel for this role says that we shall reward and glamorize those Black males and Black females, actors and actresses, if they play the most degrading roles. And that is correct. And there's also a lot of color, more racist messaging and color coded messaging in this film going on, with all the Black that Denzel Washington is wearing, and then Khari Enaharo says that it's to give the impression that this is a gorilla, that Denzel Washington character is a monkey. Basically, he's a monkey detective, and throughout the film he's definitely going bananas. Definitely going bananas. And I think I think that was it for me. I think we could get into closing comments, I suspect.
Wonderful. Very well said. I found the business meeting to be of constructive value. This section in particular of the book, Race Code War, grab your copy now by Khari Enaharo, is going to greatly help me decode more media, as I've stated. I suspect I'm becoming a little bit better at it, but this level is very inspiring, the level of decoding that the author has done. So I'm going to practice, and hopefully I will be seeing you all at the next business meeting.
There's a saying that there's nothing new under the sun. So when it comes to movies, Training Day, Monsters Ball, etc., Losing Isaiah, they're just movies that are refined and just brought up to speed, for lack of a better term. But they're all practicing racism and white supremacy. They all have these decoded messages inside of them. And it's up to us to learn what those codes are, because white people are watching these movies and they're getting a different message from us. We're watching the same thing but seeing completely two different things. And this book, Race Code War, is an excellent book. I hope, I beg people to buy this book. If you don't do anything else, please buy this book, because it will open your eyes and it will help you to understand what's going on around you. Because what we call entertainment is not entertainment. It's entertainment for white people, but it's mocking and I can't even use another word. It's just mocking and it's just practicing racism. And excellent business meeting. I can't wait until next one.
EJ, are you available to share closing remarks? Okay, no worries. I very much enjoyed today's attempted counter racist Sunday service business meeting. Had a blast talking about film. I think I always do. And what you said is right. Khari Enaharo has done an excellent job at decoding these films, and this book is going to help us to become much better at deciphering films, decoding films, and not analyzing films, understanding film. Yeah, and I'm doubly appreciating and enjoying my time with this book because I'm reading it alongside color monitors, and it's just I'm really seeing how these films are just bombarded with information, and when we watch them, we are just getting just enamored with so many codes and messages that yeah, we definitely got to be aware of what we're watching, because I wasn't when I was growing up. My victim mother wasn't when she was so-called raising me. So I grew up, watching American Psycho, Natural Born Killers, and thinking that, hey, sure, I'll probably, if I were to kill someone, it wouldn't be that much of a big deal. Or when people in my existence did die, I didn't care. And so when my uncle died, I don't care. So my auntie died, I don't know. They didn't buy me nothing for Christmas, I don't care. So yeah, films, Area 3 can mess people up. I suspect it messed me up. That, of course, being combined with me being born into the system of white supremacy, I suspect it led to my insanity a lot. So we got to understand what we're watching, and we got to, not only that, be able to understand what we're watching, but be able to have a conversation about it and explain it to other people. Because tragically enough, I've watched films with people, and I've tried to have a conversation with them, and it was like talking to a bag of bricks. And I just go, for me personally, I just think that just, makes sense. Everyone's been zombified, retarded, victimized, confused. So it makes sense to have those exchanges.
Either bag of bricks or they don't understand, and it turns into conflict or argument, and it's like, oh, I just want to have a discussion. I just want to, like, do you see what I see, or what do you see? And it's like, what do you mean? Yeah, this turns non-constructive.
Yeah, and definitely appreciate the chat. Thank you, Rayo, Sour Kiss, Still Learning. Tons of constructive exchanges in the chat. And I'm just gonna read this one from Still Learning. I suspect most movies produced by major production houses are made to support and sustain racism and white supremacy. Computer-made graphics are used to increase the entertainment factor, but the intent is the same. And that's correct. So thanks, audience. Please share this broadcast if that was constructive. And when I upload it, please like and share that broadcast. CRWS, signing out. We'll see you all next week.